Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Miami. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Challenge North America, City Bikes, Veneto, the Challenge Athletes Foundation, Florida Dairy Farmers, and Wahoo. Our next guest, Sarah Crowley, who finished 24th here at Challenge Daytona, and probably was not very happy with that, I'm guessing.
Not at all. I've had a couple of little faux in my career as an athlete, and I think, quite often, it can happen at sort of the back end of the year, and I just didn't have a lot of focus last year. I don't
think you're alone. I mean, it was a hard year to focus, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me personally, I had a few things go down that made it really challenging, especially off the back of 4 years of like complete focus and success. And I led myself astray a little bit, and so probably, it wasn't even actually on the race where I kind of recognized that. I actually recognized it the night before the race, which is very confronting when you know normally where you are at and the level that you're at. And
right.
Then, you probably look back on the interview that we had the day before, and I probably still hadn't really realized a couple of days before. But the night before, I was like, no, I'm not. These people are also fit, and I'm not ready for this. And it was a really important moment, I think, in my life, because I decided right there and then that I had to suffer the punishment of the next day. And then from then on, it sort of changed my perspective back to what's important. And
so you knew at that, you start looking down the list and you see people on the track and you know where you're at, and you're not in the same zip code where you want to be to compete with those guys.
Yeah, I think it's not so much where they're at, it's where I knew I wasn't at.
Great point.
And,
yeah.
You can guarantee yourself a certain level and a competitiveness based on, certain sessions and key things that you do for preparation. And, my lead-in, I just didn't kind of get there. I had a few personal things go down in the year, and then I actually had a stress fracture, and then towards 2 weeks out from the event, I had more issues with my hips, and it turned out I had some arthritis. We shut down my running for a week or so out, which it's fine now. I have no issues, but you know how things they just snowball. And I said to my coach last year, just felt like I was just fighting against everything, whereas in my entire life, since leaving high school and going to university and going to work at Deloitte and all these things, is such a straight line. It's green lights the whole way through. And then it just became difficult, and things just weren't flowing for me at all. And then you start to recognize that, and it becomes a bigger thing. I just really needed to have that experience of feeling pretty bad about my race too.
What's interesting is you could go to a podunk 70.3 somewhere and be in the same situation and sort of go out in the middle of nowhere, come back, there's 3 other good pros there, you get 4th place, nobody notices anything, 100%. Right?
100%.
You're at this race
yeah.
where every spotlight, nobody's raced for a year.
Yeah.
You've got oh, she won Ironman. Oh, she's an Olympian. Oh, you've got the
I had the
number
1 ranking
field.
as well.
Yes. Oh, you were ranked number 1.
Yeah.
You're ranked number 1 of the greatest field of women possibly ever assembled, right, in one place, and you know that you can't hide. Yep. It's not like you can, once I leave the track, I'll be okay. You're not leaving the track. The camera's there with the lights the entire time.
Yeah.
And so as you're going further and further back, I'm not going to drop out. That's not in my DNA.
No.
That's never going to happen.
No, I needed to suffer that punishment.
You need to suffer. But you're also the type, what I love about your background is the fact you leave the accounting job. You've got that. Then you decide, okay, triathlon's going to be it, but I'm not going to do triathlon until I'm a great cyclist and a great runner, and I'm going to focus on those things. I mean, you're so calculated. Right? That's who you are.
That went out the door last year.
That went out the door, right?
Yeah. Me and my coach, we talked about it. It's the things that I used to hold so dearly about, making sure that I was on top of everything and scheduled and, really, meticulous.
Right.
That were the things that let me down, the things that made me sort of great and gave me an advantage. So yeah, I mean that was just the tip of the iceberg of things that weren't really happening, and it just wasn't not getting the flow at all.
But it's hard sometimes to focus on sport when you've got personal stuff going on, right?
Oh yeah, and you think you can? Yeah. So last year I like separated. I'd been with my husband for 14 years. And
Wow.
yeah, so it happened.
You sort of grew up together. 14 years. That's a long time.
He was older than me, but I guess learnt the sport to try together at the elite level.
Yeah.
And yeah, I knew you grow apart all these things, and so this happened in kind of before COVID actually, and then I sort of COVID comes along, and you sort of think, well, now what? There's no racing, and I sort of had in my mind the idea of somewhat of a little bit of a mental break anyway, because throughout my life, I'd raced ITU and then I'd gone back to work, or I'd, did some cycling and I went back to work, and so I'd always had these little ebbs and flows, and I think it's increased the longevity of me.
Sanity.
Yeah, like you can then rejuvenate your enthusiasm for sport. So, I guess for me, I saw everything was shutting down. I just went, I'm going to go to Noosa. I can train there. I can, but at the end it's this, it's an underlying unsettledness of things that aren't, lots of change and
Right.
lots of things that are different, and where I guess some people might just focus on just what they're doing. I was in the mindset of, well, I need to sort of let this rest a little bit. And so I guess by about May, I'd actually given myself a stress fracture in my back, where I'd had one before. I actually had one, most people probably don't know this either, in 2018. We may as well go the big reveal of everything, but in 2018, in about, I think February, I had a stress fracture, and I was back racing in May. Like I raced the Bustles in half, and apart from one person that noticed my run time was a bit off, no one was the wiser. I was
Right.
third at the European Championship, and back winning, I think 6th at Kona, and back winning Argentina by the end of the year. And it was
Right.
it was because I was, I guess, settled in your life, and you can just fix things.
But you knew the back still wasn't right.
Well, no, it's been fine, but it just, with added stress, and I guess for me, I escaped by like just eating some stuff and like just enjoying my life a little bit more
Right.
than I would have normally, and taking that focus away from elitism with sport. And so and then the underlying tension and stress, and I guess we weren't running like massive miles either.
Right.
It's just the culmination of not doing all the right things.
Yep.
You don't then do your massaging on all the
Sure.
time, and you're not doing all your recovery.
Gotta
and
do it all.
Yeah, you're not like eating well, and so your body's not operating the way it should be. But we got back for Sunshine Coast and Cairns, and I almost pulled a rabbit out of a hat at Cairns. Like I got a drafting penalty very early in the bike, and it was, I guess it is what it is, but there was a little bit of confusion that surrounded it, and I guess I was off the bike, ran off the road. I could have been 8 minutes up the road, and even if I fell apart a bit at the back end of the run, no one would have been the wiser. And and you kid yourself a bit. Then you're like, well, maybe I'm not in such bad form. Australian athletes are really good in Asia Pacific. Let's go to Daytona, and and I kept training through in Daytona, but I still hadn't kind of refined everything I was doing. I still wasn't focused around being elite. And I was kind of, I guess I was operating more like a high-performing sort of like working sort of semi at it,
Right.
like age group maybe. Like I just wasn't giving it the priority that it should have. And so, we ramped up the training a bit, and I wasn't in the right shape and form and fitness. And then I sort of had a fair bit of inflammation still in the SI joint. And we realized there was like some arthritis in there then. So we had to peg running back. And then so I've come to Daytona, and like my one weapon that I normally would have is gone. And then, on top of that, when you don't have that, you feel like you don't have the engine when, things get fast. You don't have
Well,
just
you
have
go,
to-
what's the point of riding so hard? Because I can't run these guys down anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't ever think.
I know,
I'm
you
always
don't
going
think
to the
that
end.
way, but you'd
but
be
it's like
down.
your body won't react. Like it doesn't have the. You haven't tuned it up.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean that night was like a big deal for me. Like I just realized it's like you're in or you're out. Like, is this what you want to do? Do you want to be passionate about this? You know, and it's funny through the whole thing is that I've never once felt not supported by anyone.
Right.
So it's not as if I'm there feeling pressure by sponsors or pressure from family and friends or anything like that. Or no one's pressuring me to do anything different. It's just me not being focused on and believing in myself and my goals.
Yes.
And so it was like a light bulb was back on that night, and I suffered the race, and I don't give myself any excuses or anything for it. Like it was purely I just had not given the focus and the attention, and I didn't have that drive to really achieve what I was capable of towards the end of last year.
But you think about it, sometimes we all need an ass kicking. I mean, at the end of the day, in terms of being inspired, there's nothing better than going to the line and thinking that I think I can fake my way through it and finding out, no, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you take for granted your engine and all these things. Like, it's like nothing's ever been difficult. You can just fake it through things, no problem. But, like at elite sport and the level that the racing's at now, it's just not possible.
Exactly.
And, I guess it was great for me. Now I just sort of like bunkered down in the most remote place I could find in St. George. It's Utah. It's a small town, and there's some really great training buddies there that I've had. So like Kelsey Withrow and Nick Chase, and Leslie Smith, and Jackson Laundry. A few people who have come and gone. Matt Russell's there at the moment, and I've just some cyclists as well. So I've just kind of focused on my training and. Isolated myself and just purely just get up, train, recover, and
back to your roots.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's like the body just knows what to do, and it's like whoop, you get back in fitness really quickly. And I was so surprised about how quickly I adapted to once I actually said no, I want to do this and I need to achieve. And now it's like I've got nothing to hold me back. So,
So you're looking forward to this one?
I'm really looking forward to this race. I have no huge expectations. Obviously, it's the first one in Cameron Watt calls it Sarah Crowley 2.0. But, I know that the training's been going very well. There's numbers in running I haven't seen since ITU. And I'm not scared of anything anymore. Like, there's no fear on... particularly with any of this stuff. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's
because you come across as just someone who's impervious to stuff on the outside. Like, I'm just going to focus on me.
Yeah.
And trying to imagine you the night before the race.
Oh,
being a little emotional, going.
Oh, yeah.
I'm having.
I know.
I know where I'm at, and this is a problem.
I know, and it's funny because I think there's a lot of the top pros you don't know, like you don't. And we're programmed not to come across like this, I guess. And I'm promising you probably won't see this, Sarah, much, but it's it's a way of shielding yourself from the pressure, and you just go inside your shell and you live in your inner confidence and everything else. But the reality is, everyone's human.
Absolutely.
And I think if you starve yourself of those things for long enough, it could even be worse. So I think all in all, although last year was very challenging for me, I think I've salvaged things in that my career is going to continue. And
it's just getting started.
Yeah, it's a new one now. Here we go again. Watch out.
Exactly. So new sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Vespa Triathlon team. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that and just being part of something. I love sponsors that come in from outside of sport.
Definitely. I think the one cool thing about Vespa is its lifestyle, bouncy, happy, fun kind of branding, which I think the team, once it's fully revealed, is, everyone on the team has that kind of edgy, fun, lifestyle sort of branding. So I think that's really the thing that appealed to me about the team. I'm really excited that it fits well with me. It sits well with me, and it's a good new opportunity. It's something new. It's always good to bring out So yeah, something from outside the sport. We've got Team Bahrain. We've got
Right.
PWAG. There's a couple of teams around BMC. But yeah, I think it's nice to shake it up. It's cool that we'll be racing each other, the team, yet
But be
racing
on a team.
together in a way.
Yeah.
So I think as well with the way the sport's forming now, it's going to be a great promotional opportunity for the brand. So
I think it's going to be great for everybody.
maybe this will be a start to a few more of these if we get the promotion and the races like this.
What are your goals for 2021?
Well, I think it's to continue building with the momentum that I've built up in this last 8 to 10 weeks. Like, I'm just really loving triathlon again, for the right reasons. And, I really want to see what racing is like now. I'm looking forward to suffering again and just going after it. So yeah, I know that if I race at my capability, we've seen what I can do, and I think I can do more now that I've sort of unlocked a little bit more of like, I've learnt more about myself. So, yeah.
Sometimes when a brand gets involved with a sport, the credibility comes from the people, right? So you've got Felipe and you've got Crowley, Craig Alexander, involved with this. Was that part of the reason you connected?
Yeah, I mean, Crowley has so much experience, not just racing, but he's a really good operator as well in the sport. He's just, he's just a really nice guy, and he's the sort of person that will make sure. I knew that when he approached me about it, that he'd look after me. Like, he's someone I could trust, and
Right.
and I think that I look forward to having that experience with him. And it's awesome to have someone. Felipe has a lot of energy, and he's really excited about the people on the team. He loves triathlon himself, and so I think if we can honour that for him, with someone that operates well like Crowley, I think it's going to be an awesome group.
So for somebody who obviously did not have the race they wanted to have here at Daytona a couple weeks ago, just the whole concept of these stadium races.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I think this is going to be great for the sport. And like you said, having the spotlight on you on that particular day was probably not what you wanted.
Yeah.
But moving forward, if there's 15 of these races around the U.S. and Canada, this is a good thing for Sarah Crowley.
Yeah, I think going back, I've had really good races in the sort of non-drafting Olympic distance.
Yeah.
This race particularly is going to be sort of ITU-ish.
It is.
I've changed a few things with my equipment and my approach to the race, because it is a lot more zingy
Yes.
and zappy, I guess. Brings new girls into the race.
Yeah.
So, look, I was very uncomfortable with Daytona, and I walk away from it feeling like uncertain if I was suited to the format, but then I have to just trust in my skills and the things that I've done in the past and just put that down to where I was at in that point in time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to making up for it.
Sarah, always a pleasure to get to chat with you. Sarah Crowley has been our guest. Thanks so much for taking time.
Thanks, Bob. It's always great. I love chatting. So.
Again, Breakfast with Bob, Challenge Miami. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will catch you next time. See ya.